Ryunosuke-san was standing half turned away from me, talking on the phone. Yes. Yes. He was clearly worried and perhaps frustrated. Problems at work? I'm telling you, everything is going fine. All according to plan. Yes. No. Anakin is under my surveillance 24 hours a day, I assure you. Oh. Anakin? Me, then? So what? I have my own life. My daughter has been handling the mission well. No. No. You're telling me Himitsu's been a sleeper agent this whole time? She's been undercover? There's gonna be... Oh. Like, I'm guessing she has developed some real feelings for him, right? She definitely has. But, like, originally she started warming up to him and being friendly to him because it was just a task that her father told her to do. Oh, fuck. I can't say I was expecting that. Like, I was expecting, her dad to be involved some way in the big conspiracy plot, right? That's not a surprise to me, but say, like, oh yeah, no, my daughter's involved as well. And, she's achieving her task quite successfully. Fuck me, dude. Fuck me, dude. Fucking hell. Alright. His daughter? Himitsu? Outdoor surveillance isn't even my responsibility. Yes. Yes. No. Yes, Anakin has been behaving normally, as always. What? Russians? Of course I saw their agents, but it was to be expected. No, they haven't done anything yet. Our clients? He smirked briefly, emphasizing the word clients. No, everything's quiet for the time being. Sure, I find it strange too. We can only observe for now. He went silent for a while. Apparently his mysterious interlocutor was talking. You have no reason to doubt Himitsu. She knows everything about his life, probably even more than he does. And that was the truth, which hurt me even deeper. Suddenly I noticed large beads of cold sweat falling to the ground, my heart beating so loudly that Ryunosuke-san would soon hear it. But I kept staying still, trying not to breathe, listening to the conversation. This isn't the first year I've been monitoring the Anakin family, and if I'm allowed to say, it's always easier. No, I don't think so. Yes. Yes. Of course there are results. His contacts with the KGB. Listen, it would be an international scandal. We can't just... Another pause. Hasty action may lead to the opposite result. Listen to me. Yes. Yes. I got it. Goodbye. Ryunosuke-san hung up and let out a sigh. Hope he wasn't about to go outside for a smoke, because I didn't feel like I had the strength to take even a single step. Fortunately, Himitsu's father closed the door and the house soon fell silent. Quickly, I mumbled, sneaking through the garden. Sure, Ryunosuke-san hadn't noticed me, and I had nothing to be afraid of, really, but I couldn't force myself to stay there a second longer. The further I could be from there, the better. Once I found the road, I broke into a run. Damn, okay. Not the twist I was expecting. I was preparing for something awkward and cringy, and you know what? I'm glad we didn't go down that road. I'm glad there's this big plot twist event we got to see. That, honestly, that's a lot better. That's a lot better than the cringy awkwardness that could have been. Alright, I'll take that over, like, oh hey, I came to see your daughter. I only came to my senses on the street of that little town the taxi driver had dropped me on. I've been under his surveillance? For how long? Himitsu? As if Kobayashi Corporation, the KGB, Catherine, and her mother weren't enough. Now that too? But how is Himitsu connected to all this? So Ryunosuke-san was working for the corporation. Or maybe for Japanese intelligence? He mentioned an international scandal. Things like that would concern someone working for the government. Ah, fuck! I probably could have taken it if he hadn't mentioned Himitsu. I'd come here because of her. In spite of everything, forgetting about all social norms and manners. I just wanted to see her, hear her voice, maybe kiss her. Handling her mission? So I was just a mission for her? Since when? Since childhood? No, I simply couldn't believe that for all this time, all these years, Himitsu had been lying to me in cold blood. It was impossible. Anyone but her. God damn it! Is there a single person in my life who doesn't end up wanting me dead? I wearily sunk to the ground, leaning against the wall of a house. What could I do now? How could I live? I'd been holding on to Himitsu as the only normal part of my life. She was the only person who was completely honest with me. His words made the weight of my heart even greater. I bit my lip until it bled. How could I look her in the eyes after that? Her big green eyes, it seemed like they could never have lied to me. Thick fog was descending upon the town from the surrounding mountains. The last lights went off in the windows, and a piercing wind started to blow from the north. I closed my light denim jacket, but it didn't help much. Maybe I could look for a hotel? There had to be one. There had to be one there. First, I needed to go to the railway station. The first train to Tokyo was leaving at 4 in the morning, so I didn't have to wait long. I was starving and wanted to sleep. I got lucky and a compassionate station keeper poured me a cup of tea and gave me a couple onigiri without even asking what I was doing there so late all alone. I hoped that at least he wasn't an agent of the Secret Service. It was a stupid, stupid idea. I mean, yeah, even before, the conspiracy and intrigue, it was still a stupid, stupid idea. Why had I gone at all? Fuck if I know. But in scolding myself, I came face to face with that old dilemma. What is better? To live a peaceful lie or learn the bitter truth? Like, hey, I'm all for learning the truth, alright? I still think the trip out here was fucking stupid. Because your original intentions was not to learn the truth about anything. It was something way weirder. If I were to try and analyze Himitsu's father's words without any emotion, which naturally I couldn't do, I'd come to the conclusion he was just there to observe me. But whoever he was talking with wasn't satisfied with the results. And what kind of clients did they have? Americans? Catherine? What, was she watching me too? That would easily explain her sudden return. Although if Himitsu was handling her mission well, being around me at all times, Catherine had chosen an unorthodox means of surveillance, trying to avoid her subject as much as possible. The first timid, still cold rays of the rising sun started to appear in the east, reminding me that I wasn't stuck in this town forever. But I had nothing good waiting for me in Tokyo either. Or anywhere else. And with no one. The train arrived almost empty, and I was the only person to enter it on the station. The town was probably too far from the capital, or it was just too early. For 3 hours until arrival, I closed my eyes and fell asleep at once. I woke up about 2 minutes before reaching my station. When I walked outside, I rubbed my eyes and stretched. Still felt disgusting, feeling more tired than before. I definitely needed a good, proper sleep. I barely reached home and tumbled into bed. Questions, answers, Catherine and her mother, Himitsu and her father, the corporation and the KGB. I could deal with all that later. God damn. Alright. I'd say things are picking up a bit here, yeah? 9:20. The whistle of a kettle boiling in the kitchen woke me up. Then I heard Himitsu's voice as she hummed a song. Back already, huh? That's how my mornings often began, and there was nothing unusual about this one. Besides, Himitsu said she'd be back on Monday. Even after yesterday, I couldn't force myself to be afraid of her. I put on an old, terribly stretched out t-shirt, pulled on my street jeans, and walked into the kitchen.
Nico-kun, why'd you go to sleep in the afternoon?
I glanced at the clock. It's nearly 8 in the evening. Well, your afternoon is someone's morning. Why are you back so early? I was expecting you tomorrow.
Were you waiting for me?
She perked up, then realized it looked strange.
Dad had some urgent business in Tokyo.
Dad, huh? Urgent business? I slowly sat behind the table and looked out into the garden. I really did need to put it in order. On the other hand, winter was coming soon. All the unwanted plants were going to die anyway. Same as the good ones, though.
Why are you so gloomy?
Not even sure. Got reasons. I avoided Himitsu's questioning look and started with the food. In the end, I found it hard to look her in the eye. Understandable. Thinking about it, she'd basically been interrogating me the other day. Promise to tell me everything, Nico-kun. I've been looking for enemies everywhere I could, and all along my main enemy had been hiding right by my side. Despite that, I didn't want to believe that she was that good an actor.
That's why you shouldn't sleep in the afternoon.
I went to bed late. Or early. At that point.
And now you're going to stay up the whole night.
In reality, I didn't feel rested at all and was ready to sleep for another 5 or 6 hours. I won't. Or maybe I will. Of course, everybody lies. Especially Catherine. Fuck it. Just out of nowhere. Just like, fuck it. And Catherine. Like, you're talking with Himitsu right now. You're dealing with, like, the stress of realizing what Himitsu's father's been up to and all that. Like, and don't forget Catherine. Like, nah, can we take a break from Catherine? Why did I remember her at this moment? I don't fucking know, dude. Why do you ever remember her at some moments? I swear to God. On the other hand, Katya never explicitly told untruths. She was, however, a master of lying by omission. She was very good at justifying her behavior and making herself out to be right regardless of the circumstances. I wondered how Himitsu would behave in a similar situation. I went to your village yesterday.
What?
She stopped cutting her vegetables immediately, knife hanging in midair. It was at night. You were probably asleep by then. An idiotic smile froze on her face.
Nika-kun, what are you saying?
I wanted to surprise you. I realized it was inappropriate, but still. Very weird choice of words in the first place. Why inappropriate instead of, say, stupid? A dirty joke can be inappropriate when told at an official event. My visit, meanwhile, was unexpected, but more than appropriate, even if improbable.
Then why didn't you drop by?
She looked genuinely surprised. Specifically surprised, not frightened. Which is a good thing, for sure. Because I accidentally eavesdropped on your father talking on the phone. I deliberately paused and looked her right in the eye, but Himitsu's inscrutable face kept an expression of genuine surprise. It's nice to learn that you guys have been long monitoring the Anakin family, that you have been handling the mission well. It's a lot of interesting stuff in general.
Nika-kun?
Fortunately, she put the knife away. I'm just telling you what I heard. As for what's going on, you should be the one to explain that.
Even if my father did something like that, I don't know.
Finally, her lips trembled and Himitsu turned away. She wasn't capable of lying, after all. At least, at critical moments. I can't believe that you're involved somehow. My words sounded calm, as if we were discussing school and not the fact that her father had been spying on my family for years. Had been spying on my family. And was now spying on me. So if you tell me you have nothing to do with it, I'll believe you. But Himitsu remained silent. So it's all true.
No!
She shouted, threw herself to me and looked at me with pleading eyes.
Nika-kun, I'm sorry.
It was hard to look at her, hear her crying, and remain composed, pretend that it didn't bother me in the slightest. So is it no or sorry? I needed to know the truth. Himitsu kept crying with her head on my knees. No matter what, at that moment, she was sincere. How long? How long have you known?
Dad told me just a few days ago.
She wiped her tears, stood up, moved a chair over, and sat next to me.
That, in truth, he works for Japanese intelligence. That he's monitoring you and used to monitor your parents. But all this...
Himitsu was about to fall to tears again, so I had to grab her by the hand. Only then did she manage to calm down a bit.
But he's been doing all this to protect you. He told me that you're in danger, and no matter what, I shouldn't tell you anything. Because that would only make things worse for everyone. I just wanted to do what's best for us.
At least she clearly believed what she was saying. I had no doubts about that.
I wasn't going to betray you.
Hiding the truth isn't the best way to not betray me.
Nika-kun, forgive me.
When did it all start?
2 or 3 days ago, maybe?
I'm asking about your father. Since when has he been spying on us? Since we came to Japan?
I don't know, but...
She paused. But what? That's not all of it? I flung my arms up in the air and sighed heavily. Himitsu virtually shrunk into herself. Alright, don't torment me. Say it!
Well, he showed interest in our relationship before, too, and
She forced herself to continue.
I told him a lot. Nothing important, though. Just some daily, minor stuff. He's my father, after all. But you have to understand, I didn't know anything. I wasn't doing it on purpose. Nikko-kun?
I remained silent. I just didn't know what to say or how to react to her confession. Deep inside, I probably was ready to believe her, but is remorse always sufficient for redemption? For forgiveness? Nope. Is forgiveness that important at all? Nope. I wasn't the one to judge Himitsu for her sins. I had to live with her somehow. I knew one thing for sure. I couldn't push her away forever.
Nikko-kun, say something.
How much did you tell him?
Everything I knew. But he's only trying to help and protect you. Us.
I'd like to believe that. I smirked sadly and stood up. My legs had become terribly numb for some reason, so I had to make a few rounds of the kitchen. I don't blame you for trusting him.
Nikko-kun?
Himitsu kept going, which started to irritate me. At the moment, I needed something constructive, not her whining. I need to think. She looked at me with hope in her eyes, but immediately realized that I was going to think alone.
Alright. See you tomorrow then?
Yeah. I replied absent-mindedly. Even my relationship with Catherine was simpler in many respects. Is it? Is it though? I'm pretty sure like Himitsu and Catherine are kind of like in the same boat. Their parents just report to different people. But it's a pretty similar situation other than the fact that, Catherine was here and then left. And then Himitsu's always been here. Because I could expect anything from her. There are things I would never have suspected Himitsu of. That's true enough. That's fair enough. Like when Catherine does something, you're just like, yeah, whatever. I guess, being away for a year has changed her. Whereas when Himitsu does something, it's like, oh, no, not Himitsu. Dear God, no. I see his point. It wasn't even about whether I could forgive her. What was important was whether I could be sure that she wouldn't pull another trick like this in the future. Besides, forgiveness and meekness are easy to get used to. Then eventually you lose your self-respect, and what you thought was unacceptable before becomes quite permissible. God, if only it was someone else in her place. Someone I'd expect such twists from. Catherine. Yeah, that'd be likely. A phone call woke the house after I had just slipped into slumber. Let me guess, Ryunosuke? I jumped up, followed by a myriad of dust particles as they danced in the dim light of the kitchen lamp. Hello? Hi, you're not asleep? It's too early for that. Speak of the devil. What do you want? Just a second ago I'd been thinking about her, but over the past 2 days I'd realized that the Catherine in my mind and the one I was talking to now weren't the same person. Shall we meet? Why would we? Do you need a special reason? I guess I do. Well, let's say I miss you. This is a bad time for jokes, Katya. What if I'm not joking? How would you know? Okay, alright. Where? I don't care. Then... in the park or in the bar? See, in the park, that's a bit too, I don't feel like that's the right spot, right? Because, like, the park was, like, their big romantic area, right? That's where... and I don't want her to get the wrong idea. But also, if they go to the bar, I really don't want Nikolai getting drunk as shit and doing something stupid. Which would more than likely happen. Ugh. That's the thing. If we're factoring in, the romance aspect of it, right? I feel like in the park would be an option that would favor Catherine. I feel like that's one where you get points up with Catherine. It's like, oh, let's go to our old romantic hotspot, right? That's not what I'm going for. I don't feel like the bar is much better. The bar may have some negative consequences as well, but I'm feeling like in the bar is the spot to go. Let's meet at the bar. I'm starving. Or maybe I wanted a drink, not food. After all, I had just eaten breakfast. Okay, see you in an hour, she said, and not waiting for my reply, hung up. Damn it. This is just wonderful. What if I were to tell her everything? About Himitsu, her father, Ichinose? I really needed someone I could trust. Did you think Catherine's that person? You think Catherine, who also has a parent who reports to, a government agency, you think that's the person to confide in, huh? Literally the only person out of our 4 love interests that doesn't have some, major connection back to one of the major players is Kagome. Obviously, she's not really your ally in this route. She's kind of there. She's popped up a few times, but she's not really your ally, right? But I mean, technically, she does have a connection to the Kobayashi Corporation, but not like as strong a connection. It's not like that's her parent that she's trusted all these years. Like Ellie has her connection to Kobayashi himself. Catherine has her connection to the American government. Himitsu has her connection to the Japanese government. They're all connected to these big major players. Then Kagome is just there. Guess what? You could rely on her. You could put some trust in her, because who's she gonna, send information to, huh? Who's she gonna run info to? Exactly. Or I just want somebody to hear me out. Someone to get this off my chest to. And since I wasn't sure if Himitsu could be that person. On the other hand, it was clearly dangerous. I reached the meeting point in 40 minutes, and to my surprise, Catherine had come early as well. We sat behind a table. You're early today. So are you. I don't want to disappoint you, but arriving early is normal. What did you want to talk about? I wanted to say that we should have a fresh start. What do you mean? I was startled, and you even moved away from the table a bit. It may sound silly, but I've been thinking a lot, and I realize that you're right. After all, we still need to study together. I couldn't remember myself saying anything like that. At least, not wording it that way. So you want to remain friends? Catherine smirked. I guess we've never really been friends. Our relationship deepened right away. But we can do everything right this time. By saying right, you're implying it was wrong before. I hope each of us can draw conclusions on that ourselves. In a sense, I'm happy to hear it from her, I guess. At least now I'd be able to think less about Catherine. Because I definitely had more urgent issues at hand. Even disregarding the gravity of each one of them, the situation with my parents' past and Himitsu's present was way more important than my feelings for Katya. Because there was a good chance that I would not have a future to sort those feelings out in. It's fine by you. I wouldn't make the offer otherwise. Is it fine by you, though? I can live with it. Catherine gave me a piercing look, and for a second, I could see a shadow of irritation cross her face. She probably wanted to figure out what I was thinking about. No wonder. I was just way too tired and couldn't be bothered with facial expressions. Well then, she said seriously. Should we shake hands too? Why not? Katya reached out and I shook her hand without hesitation. Well, we have a deal then. And by the way, how's Himitsu? Why? I put myself on guard right away. You've become too distrustful. Why do you think that? Because it's obvious. She threw her hands up. I have good reasons to be, don't you think? Yeah, what reasons? Well, I don't know, I replied sarcastically. Some notes, for one. We've already discussed that. Why do you all think that having a discussion changes anything? That words can fix actions? Who is we? Just all of you. In this case, going on like that will drive you mad. You might not believe it, but I'm worried about you too. To some extent. Catherine specified immediately. So my question about Himitsu is quite appropriate. She's okay. She's doing fine. I replied briefly. I wish that was the case. You can talk to her yourself. For example, tomorrow at school. Will you be there? I will. The conversation seemed to wither away on its own. I seemed to have signed a peace treaty, but had no idea what to do now. I wanted and had an opportunity to take a break from my inner turmoil over her, but the whole conversation felt like some weird formality. Like a military dispatch about a ceasefire. By the time the news reached all the soldiers in the trenches, a dozen would have been torn apart by shrapnel. It was Katya's turn to break the silence. Alright then. How are you doing, by the way? Fine. She smiled, a bit unnaturally as it seemed to me. That's what you expected to hear, right? I really don't have much to tell, though. Well, I bought a calendar, and I've been crossing days off with a big red marker. Days left before the end of the school year? Exactly. Does it help? I don't know yet. Sounds descended upon us again. Well, I have to go. Yeah, see you. I said as if I were saying goodbye to Kyosuke, not her.